So this is just going into the story itself. This is I think it's the 30th annual one. Either way, it's a rematch from last year where one Yuta Okotsu, who has not been seen in the series as of yet and isn't seen in season one of the series, whooped all their asses of the
Yeah,
Tokyo school
single-handedly, they
single
said.
handedly. Yeah, so they're coming back for blood. Yuta's not currently with this squad because he's off, working outside or studying abroad or whatever the hell excuse that they gave. That you see at the end of the Jujutsu Kaisen Zero movie. But he's not in the arc. So now it's a bit of a much more level playing field with the Kyoto students and the not Tokyo. Yeah, Tokyo versus Kyoto students. Um Going head to head. Now we see this before we get into, because there's definitely some villain stuff that happens. Actually, yeah, we'll get into the villain stuff afterwards because it becomes a large part of this thing. Like it's very Naruto esque. Um, so it's the day of the tournament. Everyone's heading there. We see the groups that's there. I think for the first time we're introduced to the entire Tokyo squad, which is, let me actually pull up their team names. Let's see. It is, gosh, okay. Thanks for, I should have had this better. So we're introduced to, of course, the we've met already, Toto, Ao Toto, big hoss, big guy. Um
Oh yeah,
Smashes,
big beefy man.
absolutely. And we were introduced to, they call her in the dub May, but I think it's Mai, right? It's definitely Mai. I'm going with Mai Zenin, of the Zenin family, twin sister of Maki, goes to a different school, hates her sister's guts. Already built in conflict right there that we'll explore upon in a little bit. Um, Noritosho Kamo, who is honestly,
It's kind of a dickhead.
yeah, a little bit, little bit. He gets he gets a little bit of a run here, and I think we see him a little. I'll leave that for the spoiler section. We see him a little bit later in the series as well. Um, Kokuchi Muta, as we know, Mekamaru. um, he's using Ultimate Mekamaru. His curse thing is that his body is unable to pretty much do anything current in its current state. Um, he, like actual Maki, was born with heavenly restriction. Now, heavenly restriction is a type of curse restriction that affects someone's curse energy in exchange for limitations or improvements on their body. Clearly, he has the limitations part. His body is cracked. It is done for. He works elsewhere and he controls a Mechamaru bot who kicks ass in this series, and that's kind of where he is. Whereas Maki has heavenly restriction, and we'll see that she kicks many of an ass in this arc. Um, Miwa, who's my favorite, Kasumi Miwa, um, just cute.
Miwa's your favorite? I felt
Yes,
bad because I
no,
definitely slandered her in the text. She is a
I love her.
liability.
I no, she absolutely is, but I love her. She's funny as hell. Like the part where Mekamaru is kind of like looking back and is like, where's Amiwa looking back at his life? And she's like, I got these for you. I know that you're favorite. And he's like, I don't eat batteries. I'm not an actual robot. And she looks back and she's like, you guys told me that he was. I was like, that's adorable. Her getting the selfie with Gojo, her clearly being over her head, her picking up the cell phone and getting cursed speech out of the tournament. Like, I love every moment that she's featured in. And then we have
She gets her
Momo.
sword taken, and she's just like,
Yeah,
"Well, I'm done."
we have Momo Nishimiwa, who flies on a broom. Not really that thing, but we need a Momo in every series apparently. So
No, yeah, for sure.
absolutely, their principal is this old fart, Yoshinobu Gakuganji.
Oh, fuck that
Um,
guy. Hate him.
yeah, conservative, hates, wants to keep the order of how things are going currently in the Jujutsu world, and their teacher is Yutahami Lori or Iori. I want to say Iori. Student supervisor of all this entire thing, kind of where Gojo's at. She's where Gojo's at, and Kakuganji is where the principal is at in the Jujutsu Kaisen school. So we got that kind of side laid out. We already learned about the other side in the last episode. Um, so it's an even tournament thus far. Well, even to this part. So we get it's going to be Megumi, Nobara, Maki, um, Panda. Fuck, what's the other guy's name? um, it's Curse Speech guy, Toge.
Oh, oh yeah. In no, you know what I'm saying.
Yes, no, don't be no. Toge. Um, so we get all those, and they're going to be going up against this. But now there's a little wrinkle in their plan because as Gojo reveals at the top of this tournament, Yuji is actually alive. And he pops out this box, and it's supposed to be this big thing where he reunites with his two friends, even though his two friends are mortally, embarrassed, mortified that this guy is actually alive and played this corny ass joke after they mourned for him after everything that went on. So,
Yeah, it's been a minute. How would you
yeah,
feel in that? How would you feel in that situation?
how would I feel if you said you were dead and then you popped up later like, actually, it was a joke? Um, I would be grateful that you were alive, but I'll also be peeved that you think this was a joke. I'd be like, we could have not really that funny, but I would have reacted to kind of how they were. Absolutely. Um, but also this is a low stakes thing. Like if they're so here's the thing. The Kyoto Goodwill arc is for bragging rights and pretty much like, yeah, it's not there's not any stakes on the line in general. So I don't think I would react in a way. Now, if this was a life or death situation, oh my god, he's back. Yes. Oh, finally. Something on our side. But since there isn't, like it is what it is. You'd have killed everyone last year and then everyone kind of went back to their lives. So it is
Yeah,
what it is. So now they have to that presents a new strategy for the Kyoto school. Um the Kyoto school says are immediately given orders to kill Yuji. I was like, all right. The principal comes in like, all right, team, we got a plan. What's the plan on beating them? Fuck beating them. Kill Yuji. Kill him. We need him dead. I want everyone focused on the murder of this guy. Please kill Yuji. What do you think about that plan?
the plan sucks. He said, "I told you, he's a hater." Like, I think that first of all, I don't think that any of them 1v1 could beat Yuji outside of like Toto. But like any of them else ran up, I think that Yuji would have made light work of them.
It was interesting when Megumi revealed like if he's pretty strong. Like if you guys couldn't use any of your curse energy, he would beat the shit out of all of us because he's just naturally gifted in a way that it makes it seem like he has heavenly restriction. I mean, no spoiler section yet, but that hasn't been revealed about how he's so naturally strong in the first place in the series, I believe. So there's nothing to spoil. But
He just drank his milk and did push-ups, I
hey,
think.
man, I mean that might be the case. So they're working on how do they incorporate Yuji within this, and they're like, okay, Yuji's going to be the one who fights Toto, and then everyone else is going to try to just kind of make well how they do, since Yuji is the only one who can kind of like take the brutality ass whooping of this. Um, so that's a plan on both sides. One plan, kill Yuji. Other, Yuji fights Toto, and everyone else tries to complete the game itself. We learn immediately, or rather, immediately, the Tokyo school learns that, oh, they're trying to kill Yuji. We should probably do something about this. Let's get through the fights because we have a couple episodes actually worth of this entire thing. So throughout
Yeah,
this,
this I think this is the episode wise, this is the longest arc, right?
yeah, it's the longest arc of this first series for sure. As most, I mean, it's not the longest arc of the series by even far. Like,
Oh
good
no.
lord,
I'm saying of the season, I guess you could
yeah.
say.
So we get several fights during this. The first fight that we actually see is going to be Yuji Itadori versus Io Toto, which starts in this arc. And essentially, Toto asks him the
Two
question.
two beefy men pumping pumping
To,
meats, man.
he asks him the question, "What type of girls do you like?" To which Yuji says, "Of course, you know, girls with asses like Jennifer Lawrence." To which now we have this sequence where they believe now that they're best friends and they're on
I
the
feel
same
it, man.
page.
Sometimes you gotta bond over ass, you know. I don't
It,
think there's anything wrong with that.
hey man, it is what it is. Sometimes everyone has their own, quirks to them. Um,
I like the edit on on Twitter when it says instead of Jennifer Lawrence it says Meg the Stallion.
Easily better, way better. Should actually be a canon thing, to be honest with
Yeah,
you.
I wish.
I think it will be at some point. I think Gege knows at this point that everyone wants it to be Megan Thee Stallion, not Jennifer Lawrence. When's the last time I heard about Jennifer Lawrence? To be honest with you, um,
I don't know. She was probably doing some nut shit though, so
um, so we get Divergent Fist. Yuji's using his Divergent Fist. Toto's like, "Yo, this is all wrong. I need to like train you to be better, and I'm gonna train you while you're fighting me." Um, Yuji asks if it's okay being weak, relying on Divergent Fist. Initially, Yuji does not care about being Toto's best friend, but he refuses to stay weak. Impressed, Toto tells his best friend that this is the correct response, and thus blooms an interesting friendship. From there, the second battle that we get into, Panda versus Ultimate Mekamaru.
Panda
Now,
got other niggas living inside of him. I don't know how I feel about that.
he's got a gang in him. He's a one man gang. He's a three the hard way. Really, right there.
Gege was on some freak bowl
I'll be
when
honest.
creating that.
So this was the arc. Right before this arc was the arc that I stopped. So I stopped reading, and I was like, I'm just gonna wait for the anime because I think at this point they had announced the anime, and I was like, I'm not really sure what's going on with anything. So I really stopped like right here before the panda fight. I was like, there's a panda fighting. I don't know what's going on in this arc anymore. I legitimately was like, yo, I don't know what's going on. Um, but it's a battle of cursed corpses. Ultimate Mekamaru, which is a cursed corpse that's being controlled by Kokumi, and Panda, who is the son of the principal, um, his greatest, possibly, his greatest, fucking cursed object, not cursed object. Fuck, I forgot what they're called.
Oh, the cursed puppets.
Cursed puppets, yes, his greatest cursed puppet. Um, and they're having a battle, and it gets to the point where Panda realizes a curse corpses. He gets to the point where Ultimate Mechamaru is really turning up. He's like, nah, we doing all types of stuff. We like activate swords, boost, spin technique, ultra cannon, all this other stuff like that. And then we see the backstory where Panda is not actually a panda, but he is a cursed corpse. And we see that the principal is telling him, like, listen, you have a brother and a sister. He's like, no, I don't. And he's like, they're inside you.
He's
And
like, hey man, whoa.
so the panda turns into a gorilla, which is like,
That's kind of a dangerous combination.
it's kind of
A panda
crazy.
gorilla.
Yo, it was kind of nuts to see. This is my first time seeing it is in the anime. So I'm watching this for the first time. I'm like, I'm not mad at it at all. Um, but this is kind of nuts. But nonetheless, the gorilla mode obviously destroys the shit out of Mekamaru. Like, um, Mekamaru tries to hit one of his cores. Panda says, I can move my cores, you little bitch. And
Oh
really,
yeah, he was like, "Fuck, nigga, you thought he thought it was sweet." He
yeah,
was like, "I'm real well versed in this."
yeah. He was like, listen, I can fake my core to be anywhere. Um, and Mekamaru defeats, Panda defeats Mekamaru and then says, "Can I borrow your phone?" And he's like, "Yeah." At this point, might as well. Um,
He was like, "Yeah, sure." He was told him the password.
Then we see the fight between um, Miwa and Maki, which is a completely one-sided fight. So Miwa remembers Mai telling her about Maki and says, "Listen, she's gonna be a weak grade 4 sorcerer for the rest of her life." So Miwa's like, "Oh shit, I can actually
Turn
do this
up.
shit." She was like, "Yo, let me get my sword, let me do my thing." Um, Maki is not a grade 4 fucking sorcerer.
No, she
she
is. She's just
she
held back by the system.
Yeah, she is, and we learn the system. Her system is just her own fucking family. How fucked up is that? She's incredibly strong, and not only that, okay, Miwa does her simple domain. Maki's like, "Fuck this shit, get this shit out of here." Um, it is like a 8-year-old playing LeBron James in basketball. That's kind of how this is. He's throwing it off the backboard and dunking himself. He's crossing him up, hard fouls, everything of the sort. Miwa tries her best. She's like, "Listen, I got a sword, I got everything." Miwa stands no chance against Maki in any
Not at
sense of the
all.
word, like not even close. Um, even
Shout out
so
to
much,
Bay.
absolutely. Even so, the teacher was like, "Yo, Maki should be promoted," and Gojo's like, "Yo, if it were up to me, she'd be number one." But Maki has heavenly restriction and does not actually have a curse technique of her own. Instead, the power which would, I guess, summon her curse techniques is used to fortify her body, which makes her ultra strong and ultra vigilant, even though she can see cursed things, but she wields cursed objects instead. And we see a bevy of cursed objects featured throughout this entire arc. Um, we then
Yeah,
we then
there's a
switch
certain
over.
character that she's built to be like.
Absolutely, which we'll get to in the maybe in the spoiler section. Um, so this is the ladies episode, which I love, episode 17. I love this episode because I was like, wow, I've never felt like an episode dedicated to just 8 strong women, or I think it was six strong women fighting in an episode, and it's just the women. Um, because now we're introduced to Nobara versus Momo, and they have like more so beyond just a battle of like actual like skill and stuff like that. It's a battle of ethics
Oh yeah,
because
they're having real girl talk.
yeah, Momo was like, "Listen, you don't understand. It's hard to be a woman in a jujutsu sorcerer. Like, Mai goes through so much shit because, you know, her family thinks that she's weak and is a failure, and da 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 da." To which Nobaro says, "Misfortune doesn't give anybody the right to be cruel, and being fortunate doesn't mean that someone has to be nice." Which I was like, "Well, barred me up."
Barter up, barter up. Gave her the mic. She went crazy.
She said, "Maki has the same upbringing as Mai, but they're far from the same." Nobara refuses to excuse her actions and tells Momo to think about the person they've already committed to condemning as a curse, meaning think of Yuji. So they're having this battle. Momo's flying through the forest on her thing. They're getting a nice little, it's like movie action graphics and stuff like that. As Nobara's trying to use her straw doll technique resonance, and she eventually does and takes over Momo's broom, causing her to fall. And just as she's about to hit her with this squeaky hammer, um, she's shot in the temple.
Yep.
She is shot with a rubber bullet from Mai herself. And
From like 50, like 60 yards out too,
hey,
with a
man,
handgun. Like, I don't think people understand the type of, like, it's not like she had, you know,
Mai and the Lady
a
Nagant.
rifle or anything like that. She's like, not she had a sniper rifle or anything. Like, she had a 6 shooter and beamed her from 60 yards out. That was crazy.
Mai or Lady Nagant. Who you rolling with?
Oh, wait, Lady Nagant, like the one that we saw, or like her original self?
uh,
Because she has some quirk boost.
well, let's go with her original self. We're all OGs here.
Okay, Ooh, Lady Nagant, because only because Mai can only create one bullet of
Yeah,
her a curse bullet a day
this bitch threw a
because it
gun
takes
at
that.
the girl. She was out of bullets and said "fuck you" and threw the gun. Um, I love that part. So obviously Nabarro gets beamed, taken out. Um, to
Momo gets
which,
saved at the last second
yeah,
because she
and
was about to
Maki,
smoke her with that little rubber hammer, which was
absolutely,
absolutely funny.
yeah, funny as fuck. But Maki now enters because she's got to help her girl now, and we see Maki versus Mai, and then we get the backstory. The backstory of Mai and Maki, both grown. Well, Maki growing up with the inability to use curse techniques, and her dad being like, "Look at this piece of shit that I fucking birthed out. I can't stand how I birth two children, both useful, bad enough they're women, bad enough." But now one is unable to use curse techniques, and not only that, she's defiant in her ability. She doesn't care to like learn. She doesn't care to have some sort of sorcerer take over her soul and figure that out. She doesn't care for that. She doesn't care to do any dishes or being subservient at all. She's just a back talking little girl. And Mai, who's her twin sister, just got to deal with this all as well because they're twins. Um, she says my Maki says that she could see curses. No. Mai says sorry that she could see curses and would be afraid, but Maki was never scared and always went straight for her future. She left the clan despite telling Mai that she wouldn't leave her behind, only to return and become head of the clan. Mai believes her sister is a liar and claims to hate her. I don't think she actually does hate her.
Nah, she loves her sister. She's just mad at her.
She's
It's a
mad at her
sibling squabble.
situation.
If you got siblings, you don't squabble with them.
I
You
feel
don't have
like
your little
her,
sibling
sh
beefs.
my situation was easier because Maki was there always to take the brunt of the thing. But then when Maki left, Mai really took the brunt of everything and kind of left her sister to fend for herself. But Maki will never, she does not regret leaving because ultimately she says she has to do what's best for herself. And she was born with little curse energy and was never acknowledged by her family and didn't want to fall down the same hole with her sister, didn't want to live that way. She had to leave. She says even though she made that promise, she and she feels bad about it. She ultimately is doing what's best for herself. And Mai goes for the kill. She tries to hit her with all the bullets. Maki doesn't realize that she is his ability to create one bullet left, even though it uses all of her curse energy. She uses that one bullet, shoots it out. Maki catches that shit because she's real as fuck. Catches it with her hand.
Cause
Um,
barehanded the bullet.
and
Come on,
then,
built
yeah,
different.
she says, "Listen, it's that heavenly restriction. You know, that's the real curse technique that we have. We don't have actual curse techniques. We have heavenly restriction." Um, yeah, and she catches the bullet, crumbles it up. Mai tries to throw the gun at the chick, gets overpowered, and yeah, she still considers her a liar and a disappointment, um, even though this entire situation is going on. And that leads us into episode 18, where it is versus, well, Megumi versus Kamo. Kamo's the guy who uses his blood and shit. Um, as blood technique, able to like take blood packets and manipulate blood and use it as weapons, which is kind of cool, I guess. Um, they're having a fight. The fight is really it would probably have been a much more notable fight if it had an actual ending, but because Mahito and his gang pull up to Jujutsu, high,
Oh
and
yeah,
they're going to steal whatever they're going to go steal. On the other side of things, Nanami pulls up. Not is it Nanami? No, Hanami. Sorry, Hanami pulls up with other people in tow as well. Special grade curse, and decides to, you know, a veil is put over the school, a veil only to keep Gojo out. I was like, God damn, could they hate you anymore in this series? Um, a veil is put over, trapping everybody but Gojo outside, and all the kids inside who has to go up against this special grade curse Hanami. Tough beat. Reminds me of Naruto, to be honest with you.
Yeah, listen, the whole villain pulling up and
Fucking up the tournament.
sabotaging, yeah, fucking
Yeah,
with the tournament, sabotaging everything.
a story as old as time. Um,
Yeah, listen, because why not? Why not choose that time
hey man,
to attack when everyone is there?
they kidnapped Bakugo that one time. You know,
Yeah, they did.
sometimes you just need everybody in one place while they're inexperienced, and keep All Might slash Gojo out, and that's how you win. But they try their best to hold off of Hanami, but Hanami's too fucking strong. It kills all the Shikigamis. Um, Toge ends up using his curse technique and blowing his fucking vocal cords out. Like it's wild as he like, and spitting up blood and shit.
Yeah, that was, well, I mean, because he kept, I mean, he was only using, they even said, they're like, yo, he's burnt out already, and he was using low level, um, yeah, he was using low level stuff, and then finally he was just like, listen, I got one vocal cord left.
Adobo.
He
Oh my god.
was, if I was him, all mines would be like taco ingredients.
Really? Ooh,
Yeah,
that's a good thing. Mine would probably be like, yeah, man, like
like
West Indian food, like roti, fucking oxtail. Uh,
carne asada,
yeah.
carne carnitas,
Oh my god, that's lit. All right, we should do that.
cabeza, cabeza.
Oh shit, rice and peas. But
Cabbage.
yeah. So Megumi and Maki try to fight Hanami on their own. Trade in the cursed tools and everything like that, but Hanami gets the best of them, and that is where Yuji and Toto come in, and they're the people who get the main, you know, fun stuff going this episode. And we actually get to see Toto's quirk this time. We get to see Toto in action, full action, as he teams up with Yuji to fight Hanami. We see a little bit of Toto back in third grade. He beat up a high schooler and sat on him, claiming that life was boring.
Yeah, that's so wicked. Because I have a first grader, and so I have to pick her up every day. So I see what third graders look like. And
Soon,
the thought
Mhm.
of a third grader smoking out a high schooler has me in tears.
Soon after, a woman who we would find out later in the series is going to be Yuki Tsukumo. We find about later in the series. Calls out to Toto and says what women are his type. Upon meeting, Toto felt like his life was never going to be as boring again, and now we see his kind of life. We see his curse technique, which is the boogie woogie. Now, the boogie woogie is cool. I like it.
No, it
Uh,
is. This is a tight technique.
User claps his
If you're in a,
hands. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, if you're in a real fight and you have this technique, that would be so clutch.
So the user claps his hand and he's able to transform, well, not transform, but transport two different bodies of things, or at least change their positions. So it presents this amazing fight that we see with Toto and Yuji versus Hanami, where, you know, constantly they're changing positions, using Black Flash, punching, changing positions, overwhelming um, Hanami to the point where he's really pushed his limits as well, and it just keeps going back and forth and back and forth. Um,
Usually runs off like 7 black flashes in a row.
yeah, really some like apparently it's like some unprecedented shit, but really
Yeah, it's like,
damn
oh my gosh. It's like,
cool.
whoa, one. It's like
It's-
the first time they introduced the 3-point line. Like,
yeah.
whoa, wait, you can hit multiple? Hold on
um,
now.
there's some other stuff going around with all the characters, but that's not important now because Gojo has managed to find his way. Well, the domain manages to break, and Gojo finds his way to where he is, and he's like, "Yo, I cannot wait." So Gojo shows up, severs the limbs of one of the 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 people, which is nuts. He's like legitimately is like,
Oh
"Don't
yeah,
kill him."
he yeah. So what you're gonna do is like twist his arms and legs until they're just not.
Yeah, and leave pretty much his stub of it in her body like kind of together so they can, use him for interrogation to kind of find out more about this plan. Um, they continue to do Hanami. Yuji tries to pursue Hanami, but Toto yells at him to stop, as he's worried his new best friend would be turned into collateral damage. Gojo decides to go crazy and combines Curse Technique Lapse Blue and Curse Technique Reversal Red together, resulting in Hollow Technique Purple. The fissure from the purple leaves,
That sounds
and
like a weed strand.
I
Whoever has
mean,
that, please hit me. If you're listening to this episode, you got some Hollow Technique Purple, DM me.
once they're able to move on from various strains that are Dragon Ball Z related, maybe we'll get some Jujutsu Kaisen related strains.
Yeah, I know, right? I
Um,
can't wait. I can't wait the next time I go to New York, go to Zaza World, and
but yes, the purple shows up and absolutely wrecks everything in front of it, and they don't know if Hanami's been killed or not, but Hanami has not actually been killed. But meanwhile, more than anything, this entire thing was a distraction so Mahito can steal Curse Womb Death Painting 1 through 3. What are Curse Womb Death Paintings? We'll find out in the next arc because um, it's named after that. um, so everyone settles back down. Everyone gets back. They're like, we got what we wanted. Hanami's still alive. Hopefully, we can heal them. Um, Geto is still looking forward to October 31st. He was like, no, we can't really beat Gojo right now. He says, when Hanami asks about why don't they seal Gojo with the veil, Geto explains that they don't want to direct his attention to Mahito's main mission. Geto believes that one of the students act as a landmine for Sukuna, which is Megumi, and if they were to kill the student, Megumi, um, wait, my page refreshed. If they were to kill the student, Megumi, all of their plans will be ruined. Jogo suggests for them to kidnap Sukuna's vessel, but Geto says Sukuna is a bomb for both of them and Jujutsu High, which means if shit goes bad, shit's gonna go really bad. Um, and so they're like, you know what? Let's just tread October 31st. We'll wait on it. It's a couple weeks away. We'll figure it out. Um, then everyone kind of like heals up and they continue the tournament, which is a baseball. The second part of it, it's a baseball game, which Tokyo wins 2-0. How did you feel about the baseball?
oh, it was great. The Toto part was absolutely hilarious. It's probably one of my favorite episodes of the series too.